I spend a lot of time on this channel discussing the work of Leigh Whannell and James Wan. For good reason, they are two essential filmmakers of the 21st century horror film genre. Since the two creatively separated, they've continued making awesome horror movies with their unique voices. They've continued to hone their craft, allowing their films to showcase what each brought to their creative partnership. James Wan's recent work has shifted between large-scale, big-budget action films and his over-the-top horror films. Meanwhile, Whannell has worked on his own lower-budget cyberpunk action film with Upgrade, and has worked with a more self-serious docudrama style of horror that leans into metaphor. His debut Insidious Chapter 3 immediately showed this distinction between the types of films he wanted to direct and what Wan was known for directing. His reimagining of the classic Universal horror film The Invisible Man is an awesome movie that nailed this style. It received positive critical reception and was a surprise box office hit before COVID in 2020. The film's success encouraged Jason Blum and Whannell to work within this world again, this time choosing The Wolfman to reimagine in this style. I was excited to see the film. As a major fan of Whannell and Universal monster movies, I couldn't wait to see how he would reimagine this iconic monster. Jason Blum produced the film through Blumhouse Productions, and the film was distributed by Universal. It was just released on January 17th, 2025, and has received mixed critical reception with a weak box office opening weekend showing. With this brief context laid out, let's review Wolfman. Going into this film with high expectations ultimately left me feeling empty. There is some stuff here that works well and is interesting. The overall approach to the film feels smart and fresh. The reimagining of the werewolf mythology is intriguing, and I can see where Whannell was going with it. Unfortunately, the film fails to execute his vision and struggles to live up to his previous work. The usage of disease as the vehicle through which to reimagine werewolf mythology is clever. This goes away from most other werewolf films before, and the film has received some flack for this. However, I always appreciate filmmakers taking material and repurposing it for their own ideas. Making the disease serve as a metaphor for things like Parkinson's or other brain disorders that progressively eat away at your core identity is a good idea. There are even some good moments in the film of body horror transformation with effective sound design. I don't even hate the practical effects used here either, like some people, though I can see why some find it a bit underwhelming. I also like the wolf vision thing that is used, and the general messing with perspectives shows some effective direction. This is hamstrung by the film's poor writing, which refuses to trust its audience. This was a critique I just made in my video on Insidious. Wan and Whannell refused to trust their audience in that film, and Whannell again makes us out for idiots, using dialogue to painfully deliver explicitly what some of the metaphors are. The idea of generational trauma is also played around with, and this is explicitly laid out through the dialogue. Every character in their arc is told through exposition and foreshadowed to death. Everything is so predictable that you're constantly left waiting for something exciting to happen. When it's revealed that his dad is the werewolf terrorizing them, not a single audience member is shocked. When Julia Garner's character Charlotte has to step up as a parent, this is foreshadowed to death through obvious dialogue. Her growth doesn't even feel organic at all, and it also doesn't even feel like there is any growth. Even when the dialogue does not explicitly lay out what the metaphors of the film are, it's just not that effective in any other way either. We don't care about these characters. They all feel flat and emotionless. There are clear attempts by the actors to find some depth, but the writing hampers these efforts. The film is trying to emulate The Fly, but fails in that film's greatest triumph. Nothing about this film is heart-wrenching, and we ultimately don't care about the gross-out body horror because we don't care about the characters. The chemistry between our two leads is non-existent. In a film like this, you need likable characters. This film's failure to provide them makes the horror feel empty. There are some decently directed chase sequences, but they ultimately lead to nothing. I love the idea of a one-night, one-location horror film, but for a film about progressively deteriorating illnesses that slowly separate you from those you love through loss of identity, the choice for it all to take place in one night removes the ability for the arc of these characters to feel truly authentic. Even if the film was executed better, it still would have felt lacking just due to the overall lack of ambition. Whannell is known for invigorating the genre with energy and new direction, but this is a hollow attempt at body horror that lacks the necessary character development and growth to make it land. The acting is fine, as I said, they try, but the writing hurts their ability to embody authentic characters. Everything is laid out in such explicit ways that it feels more like a first draft than a finished product. Even at the end of the film, when they kill Blake, we need this moment painfully explained to us as well. You would want to die. We're told instead of shown. Everything was laid out in such a predictable way that the story soon grew boring. This is a very disappointing film to start the new year. I am a huge fan of Winnell and still look forward to his future films, but this was a serious misfire. I appreciate what he was attempting to do, but the execution was weak and predictable. This feels like the type of horror film that will slowly fade from memory and hold no real weight or staying power. The Invisible Man showcased how to reimagine the old Universal monster movies through a unique and fully realized vision from a creative filmmaker. Wolfman unfortunately shows the potential pitfalls of this approach. However, I hope we continue to get these attempts at clever reimaginings, because even though I found this film disappointing, I would much rather give films like this a chance than have to see Universal take another crack at crafting a soulless, corporate-driven, shared monster universe. With that being said, what did you think of the film? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. See you next week.